However, lawmakers think differently, Prof. There's a bill now before the House of Reps seeking to prevent Nigerian trained medical or dental practitioners from being granted full licenses until they have worked for a minimum of 5 years. Health sector ahead the incoming administration and the efforts, what the Tinubu presidency must do differently. I've been speaking with former Vice Chancellor of Redeemers University, Professor Oyewale Tomori. Thank you for staying with us on the program. I'm also joined now by Professor of Orthopaedic and Trauma Surgery. He's also Pioneer Provost of the College of Health Sciences at Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Professor Mike Ogirima, who is also a former president of the Nigerian Medical Association. Great time for you to join us, Prof. We're just talking about the reasons why Nigerian health workers are leaving the country in droves. And Professor Tomori said that Nigeria must look inwards rather than blame, people on the outside for its problems. But I wanted to speak very quickly to the proposal by the House of Reps seeking to prevent Nigerian trained doctors and dentists from being granted full licenses until they have worked for a minimum of 5 years in the country. Do you think that will work?
That proposal is dead on arrival. For somebody to sit down and think and imagine that you can keep a professional or somebody educated, not to practice fully for 5 years, it is unheard of.
No, not saying. The proposal is not saying they will not practice fully. It's just saying that practice will be within the country. Isn't that what it's saying?
Yeah, I don't know. What he is saying is that if a doctor qualifies, that doctor should not be licensed fully to practice. How do you practice without a full license? You can't practice. That is quackery. If you allow somebody without a license to practice, it's not heard of. The 1 year after graduation that a doctor spends as a houseman is a stage of, training on the job. So that after 1 year, that person can be certified to practice on his own. So if you deny that person for 5 years, it is criminal. And that person thinking like that should be treated and should be sued by the court of law.
And this represents the position of the Nigerian Medical Association, I suggest, right?
Yes, that is our position.
All right, so let's quickly get back to Prof. Tomori. I'd like us to speak to the resolution of labor disputes between government and health workers. Just 2 days ago, Johesu and another body issued a 15-day strike ultimatum over what they call alleged inconsistencies by the federal government in the ongoing negotiations to adjust salary structure and the rest. But look at the figures, Prof. Since the start of the pandemic in 2020, doctors have been on strike for not less than 4 times, including sometime in August 2021, that the National Association of Resident Doctors were on strike for more than 20 days. Speak to us about the ethics of it. Should doctors even go on strike for any reason whatsoever, or for as often as they have that we have experienced in the past few years in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. There are conditions for ethics. When you talk about ethics, there's something you have to do on my side and something I have to do on your side. You cannot take only your own side and say I'm not ethical. There are conditions. You tell somebody do not defecate openly, and then there's no toilet to defecate. How do you get not to defecate openly? So let's be frank with each other. When government fails to meet its condition, then you start shouting about ethics. No, you can't. I know what my friend, he was more on his side about hypocritical, but there's also basic assumptions that must be in place before you start bringing all those issues. You cannot, I use the word disenable a person, and then you tell him he's not functioning. How can he function? We are not providing those bases for him. Of course, the issue of strike is not just for the medical people alone. You know our universities have been on strike for how many years? Virtually everywhere. And it's a threat of strike. Everybody is striking. Something must be wrong with the people they are striking against. I think that's where we should be looking at. What is it that is leading to everybody asking for strike and strike, from teacher to road worker to something or something? The common factor is that we are leading with a government that is not performing its duty to ensure that the right conditions are available for people to function.